I tend not to cover President Trump that much. I didn't cover him as a candidate that much at the Young Turks. I didn't cover him that much as while he was president there. Really, not because I don't think he's important, and I do think he's a madman and a con man, but I think the rest of the corporate media has it covered. I mean, I think where I fit in, where I fill a void is covering everything they are not covering. Because, you know, me being the 200th person to tweet the same exact thing or do the same exact story on Trump doesn't add anything to society, if you ask me. But I don't have a choice today because I think the stuff with the guns is very, very important. He is the president. And I think there's something getting lost in the coverage on corporate media and probably some independent media. So if you're living under a rock, Trump's education secretary went on 60 Minutes last night. And honestly, she barely knew. If you would have asked her how to spell her name, I'm not sure she would have known. I hate to be crass, sounded like an idiot. She really, really doesn't know education. She doesn't know education policy. And she certainly should not be leading any commission on gun safety in schools. This woman is not ready for prime time, in addition to being very corrupt. Her family basically owns Michigan. If you're from Michigan, you know what I'm talking about. So there was an announcement that came out that there will be a gun commission, President Trump's gun commission on guns. And as part of that announcement, there was nothing on raising the age to acquire a weapon of war, which is an AR-15. It's a weapon of war, which Trump, after the Parkland school shooting, said, we're gonna increase the age that you could buy one of those weapons. Because in Florida, for example, you could buy a handgun. You can't buy a handgun until 21, but you could buy an AR-15 at 18. So Trump said that. Trump also kind of like, while the cameras are on, he loves having cameras in while he's talking to legislators because it's all a TV show. He views the presidency as a TV show. He cornered Senator Pat Toomey and I think Manchin too to ask them why their background check bill didn't work when they submitted it, I believe in 2013. And he kind of antagonized them saying, oh, it's because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
So I was just curious as to what you did in your bill.
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Look, I think
why? Because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
Well, sometimes we got to fight with the NRA. So these are all things that sound very, very lovely. And he's a big, strong guy, and he's like, you know what? The NRA, they're great patriots, and we love them. But sometimes we got to fight with them. He has lunch and dinner at the NRA a week later, and then a gun commission comes out where there's nothing. I mean, commissions in Washington means nothing. It's going nowhere. This is a show commission. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to come out of it. Maybe Trump will do an executive order on bump stocks, which is something, but not nearly enough. So you have to, yes, he's a con man. Yes, he's a coward. But there's also something else, I think, going on here that you don't really see a lot of coverage of. And this is the angle, I think. Trump understands that the only way he could win re-election is not only fooling the masses, but is stoking the culture war. He, better than anybody else, stoked the culture war. Because many, many, many people in his base, I'd say 80 to 90%, they don't just want to cling to their guns because, they desperately think they need an AR-15 to defend themselves. It's not truly about that. And I've interviewed enough of them to know. What it's really, truly about is in America, having a gun is like your identity to a very, very large swath. It's part of your wiring. It's part of who you are. It's part of your bravado. And Trump, if you've seen throughout his presidency, Trump is desperately playing to this base. And you know what? Even though that base is smaller than the actual progressive movement in America, I'm here to tell you, he will win re-election. Listen to what I'm saying. He will win re-election if he activates this base, the culture warrior base, which they are down south with their guns, they are in the Midwest with their guns, some of them are in the Northeast with their guns. There's a lot of gun nuts around the country. And some of them aren't nuts. Some of them just, guns are like religion to them. But the Democratic Party, as we've seen, is not embracive, is not a conman and a coward. Number two, we are calling for an absolute economic relationships with guns, gun manufacturers. It's not just the NRA, gun manufacturers. Economic boycott. They won't do it. Because the only way to change the oligarchy is to hit them in the wallet. That's the only thing they care about. And number three, it's not enough to crap on Trump. Why is the Democratic Party not organizing around these kids in Parkland? Why is the Democratic Party not organizing around other groups that can go against Trump? Why is the Democratic Party not naming names of every single Republican and, frankly, some Democrats that are taking money, not just from the NRA, but gun manufacturing companies? Because they don't care. They care about winning elections at all costs. They don't care about doing what is necessary to defeat Trump. And that is what's going to repeat Trump. Let me tell you something, folks. I haven't got into 2020 that much, but if it's Kamala Harris, if it's Cory Booker, if it's Tim Kaine, if it's Joe Biden, and Trump keeps activating the base as he is, the culture warriors, and he could cite, the crumbs they got on the tax cuts. He could cite like 3 or 4 plants that came back to America. He's going to win. That's the truth. And you could save this video. I'm saying it on March 12th, 2018. And I mean, I could roll off so much information. I mean, in October, the NRA announced its largest advertising buy of the presidential race, promising $6.5 million in new spending to back Donald Trump. Overall, they spent $21 million backing Trump and another $12 million attacking Hillary Clinton. So obviously, he's not going to do anything. I mean, I don't need to get into the moral part of this, how these human beings actually sleep at night, how these human beings actually look in a mirror, how these human beings pretend that they are protecting the American people. I hate to tell you, but there's going to be another Parkland. There's going to be another Nevada. There's going to be another church shooting. I hate to scare you. Maybe YouTube will take this down because I'm telling the truth or scaring people. There's going to be more shootings, and there's not going to be anything in Washington. And you want to know why? Because frankly, Donald Trump, the Republican Party, and some Democrats are accomplices to domestic terrorism. Call it what it is. Donald Trump, the Republican Party, some Democrats are accomplices to domestic terrorism. So while the Democrats are out, calling a boogeyman on Russian trolls and hacking and all this, doesn't kill anyone, and most of it's bullshit, people are going to go to school tomorrow, and there's a chance that people are going to die. People are going to go to a movie theater, a mall, a gas station, you name it. It's not just the mass shootings. It's the shootings every day all over the country. It's crazy. And you know what? While the media is fixated on Stormy Daniels and, Trump had an affair, which... is this news that Trump cheats on his wife? Or he paid off the woman? Yeah, he's the president, but this is all they're covering. They're not, they did it for a minute after Parkland, but while they cover this commission, they're not putting on the screen what each Republican takes from the NRA. They're not putting on the screen Democrats who take from the NRA Not just the NRA. It's the gun manufacturers they also take money from.